Calculating the cost of a Midkey loan. So, how much does your Midkey cost? Firstly, a Midkey loan does not require monthly payments for the entire life of the loan. This means you won't have to make regular principal or interest payments. Instead, interest accumulates throughout the life of the loan, and you'll pay it at the end. Also, Midkey interest is simple interest, not compound interest. So you're not paying interest on your accumulated interest. This is further explained in the FAQs on the Midkey website. Midkey's interest rates have historically been around 1% to 2.5% higher than a standard home loan. Midkey's rates depend on your property type and if you are using it for an investment property. Check the Midkey website for the latest rates. When you pay your Midkey loan, if your property has increased in value, you will also pay a Midkey deferral fee. Think of the Midkey deferral fee as the fee you pay for the benefit of deferring all your principal and interest payments to the end of your Midkey loan. How is your deferral fee calculated? The deferral fee is a proportion of any increase in your property's value during the life of your loan, where this proportion is agreed upon at the start. For example, if a Midkey loan was, say, 10% or 20% of your property's agreed initial value at the start of your loan, then the Midkey deferral fee proportion will also be that same 10% or 20%. Therefore, the deferral fee proportion will be 10% or 20% of the increase in your property's value. The maximum Midkey can lend you is 35% of the agreed initial value of your property. So the maximum that the deferral fee proportion can be is 35%. The deferral fee portion is fixed throughout the life of your loan unless you make a partial repayment. If the property has not increased above the agreed initial value, or it decreased during the loan term, there is no need to pay a Midkey deferral fee. When Midkey initially values your property, a 5% reduction will be applied to this value, and this is called the agreed initial value. In another video, we further explain why the 5% reduction is applied and how your property is valued to ensure accuracy and fairness. Let's break down the calculations of the deferral fee. Let's assume your home's agreed initial value is $1 million. Your existing mortgage is $200,000 and you take a $100,000 Midkey loan on top of it. Let's also assume your property's value rose by $200,000 from the agreed initial value over 3 years and you don't make a partial payment or renovate your property. Because your $100,000 Midkey loan accounted for 10% of your agreed initial value, the deferral fee proportion of any property increase will be 10%. Because your property's value has increased by $200,000 from the agreed initial value, the deferral fee will be 10% of this increase. So, 10% of this $200,000 increase is $20,000. And that's the deferral fee, $20,000. Remember, if your property's value does not increase above its agreed initial value during the life of your loan, there is no Midkey deferral fee. Now, let's look at all the costs of this loan example. The end of a Midkey loan is typically when you decide you want to repay your Midkey loan or when you sell your property. Let's assume you repaid your Midkey loan in 3 years and the Midkey interest rate over the life of your loan was 7%. Because Midkey interest is simple interest, each year, interest will accumulate by $7,000, totaling $21,000 of interest over the 3 years. Earlier, we also calculated your Midkey deferral fee is $20,000. This means that in total, your main payments at the end of your 3-year loan will be $100,000 of principal, $21,000 of interest, and the $20,000 deferral fee. This total is $141,000, not including incidental fees covered shortly. It's important to note that while Midkey charged $21,000 in simple interest at the end of the loan, and based on the $200,000 increase in the value of the property during that time, charged a $20,000 deferral fee, you have kept the rest of the increase in your property's value, which in this case is $180,000. Let's discuss these incidental fees. At the beginning of the Midkey loan, we charge a 1.5% establishment fee, plus document preparation costs and a registration fee. These fees can be paid from Midkey loan proceeds. The only upfront fee you pay is for any valuation, and these fees are further explained on the Midkey website. Your home is your store of wealth. Responsibly unlock it with Midkey. Terms and conditions apply.